I have a project going, and I really didn't know what I was going to do with this quilt. The blocks are approximately 14 by 14, and this is very stretchy material. It is material that's out of a lady's clothing. The young lady was killed in a car accident, and her mother made this quilt. And the blocks should have really been backed by a stabilizer, but she didn't do that. And I wanted it to appear that I was quilting it by the block. And I looked at patterns, and I decided on this design by Deb. It's feathers, and it is a pattern that suits the description of a p2p pattern. So what I do is I just click the corners of the block, and that puts a repeat in there, and then I go back and adjust them. I've already quilted this row, and I've did a relocate, shift all to one point, and I used this sharp point in this pattern, the one right here, right there, that little sharp point, and I just relocated this row so that I could show you the putting in the next row. I'm going to click on the point-to-point icon. It's set for patterns, and that's what I want. So I'm going to click on the point-to-point icon, and then I'm going to click the upper left and corner, or the upper corners of these blocks as I go along, and Creative Studio is going to put the patterns in there. So I'm all set to go, and I'm starting at the upper left edge of this next row, and I'll just click the corners, intersection of the blocks, and when I get all the patterns in here, I'm going to draw a boundary, and I'm going to make sure the patterns fall exactly in place where I want them to. And this quilt is 6 blocks wide and 6 blocks long, so it's a square quilt. Now I have all the patterns clicked across there using p2p pattern. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a boundary. The boundary is drawn, and I'm just going to go and look at each individual block and make sure that it's going to fit in the area like I want it to. And I'll go along, and I will adjust each individual block. Now how I drew this boundary is I drew down this side, across here, up to that line, back down, across, up to the line, back down. Did that all the way across, and then when I got to the right side, I just went up the side of the quilt, and then I clicked points along this top edge of these blocks all the way back to the starting point. And I have each individual block outlined so I can adjust the individual patterns to fit. Patterns are adjusted as well as they can be adjusted. And what I will do, I will just quilt this out, and I used a combination of purple handles and gray handles to skew this pattern a little bit to fit some of these blocks that are not anywhere near straight. So all I got to do now is quilt. I have quilted the second row of blocks, and now I'm going to shut the machine down for the night. I'll come back in the morning, start up, do a relocate so that it shifts all these patterns, and I'll just do another row.